Hello, my name is Callie DeMaria, and I'm currently an RBT working at Brettinovi and Associates.
Hello, my name is Rocco Benny, and I'm the Director of Special Olympics and Recreational Skills, as well as a Clinical Coordinator at Brettinovi and Associates.
Today, we are presenting research we found in an article written by Schneck and Miltenberger, who identified and reviewed 101 different studies that focused on behavioral interventions and how they can be used to enhance sports performance. Research has investigated 23 interventions with 21 different sports.
The most recent publication by Martin et al. In 2004 is the most recent publication talking about sports and ABA, but articles involving single subject designs were reviewed. The review article we are going to talk about was written to compare and contrast the different procedures being used to enhance sports performance. To take it a step further, I will be discussing how our Special Olympics teams personally use these procedures to enhance our sports performance.
The article discussed consequence procedures, which are procedures that instruct us on how to appropriately respond to behavior. One procedure mentioned was using positive and negative reinforcement. This procedure is used to either increase or decrease the probability of the behavior happening again.
A few of the most common consequence procedures used, not only in ABA field, but in Special Olympics here at BDA, is positive and negative reinforcement. Let's start with positive reinforcement. All coaches and staff use this procedure as a way of providing encouragement to our athletes. This will hopefully increase the likelihood of the movement or behavior happening again.
In this example, the coach is providing positive reinforcement with the team cheer, as well as giving verbal praise for having a good practice.
When it comes to the use of negative reinforcement, coaches will lead a team stretch at the beginning of each practice and then at the end of each practice. Stretching is important because it decreases the chance of an athlete pulling a muscle.
Another consequence procedure discussed is auditory feedback, which involves providing spoken word feedback as to whether they performed correctly or not. The last consequence procedure mentioned was chaining, which could be used to break down movements into smaller steps to help remember and comprehend more complex movements. The next set of procedures discussed was antecedent procedures. These procedures involve making changes to an environment to control the frequency of the behavior. The first procedure discussed is physical prompting, which involves a coach physically guiding the player to perform the correct movement. The next procedure discussed is video modeling, which involves displaying a visual video that shows how the targeted behavior should be performed.
Coaches use this procedure to let the athlete know what they did well and what they can improve on. These teaching moments can occur during a game or after a practice. During the track and field season, we have taken a video of the 4x100 relay team practicing their race, and then have gone back and carefully examined the handoffs and athletes remaining in their lanes during the race.
The last procedure discussed is goal setting, which involves stating clear, measurable, and specific goals to be achieved performing that behavior. The next procedure discussed was feedback procedures. Feedback is considered very important in the fields of ABA and OBM. Verbal behavior was already discussed, but video feedback could be beneficial to the learners. This would display a video that provides feedback on the targeted behavior. The last feedback procedure mentioned was public posting. This involves posting performance data on a public platform to influence performance.
Public posting is when data are released on a public platform to influence performance. Our coaches are able to see their athletes' performance data prior to track meets and swim meets. Itinerary for competitions are sent out that include the athlete's time as well as shows the time for the other athletes in that heat. That data is entered into an Excel spreadsheet and used when it is time to submit times and throws to Special Olympics prior to meets.
The next procedure discussed is skill training procedures. These procedures involve teaching a behavior which, in result, improves their correct engagement in the target behavior. One major procedure discussed is behavioral rehearsal. This involves practicing the target behavior outside of the scheduled time to practice.
Staff will sometimes work on movements like kicking a soccer ball or the softball throw after a home session. The more an athlete can practice outside of the normal practice time, the greater likelihood of them succeeding.
The last set of procedures are listed separately since they either include multiple components or are used with other procedures concurrently. Behavior skills training involves a lot of the previously mentioned procedures, such as instruction, modeling, rehearsal, and feedback. Another procedure mentioned is discrimination training. This involves reinforcing a specific behavior in the presence of one stimulus, but not other stimuluses. An example of this would be presenting a green card and a red card. If the individual were to touch the green card, they would receive Skittles. If the red card is touched, no reinforcement is delivered.
Athletes usually receive reinforcement in the form of verbal praise, high fives, for engaging in running or field events at practice or at a meet. When given the SD, it's your turn to throw, or the words runners take your mark, get set, and go. The athletes over time will learn that if they run or throw, reinforcement will become available for them. Separate from the mentioned procedures, you will notice that many athletes generalize these new behaviors or skills in new situations. The knowledge gained from the research article and examples will provide coaches and staff opportunities to coach their athletes using ABA procedures. Simple procedures such as chaining procedures can be used to teach a complex behavior such as swinging a golf club correctly. From the research and the connection we made to real-life examples, we hope individuals will be able to use these behavior concepts to teach anyone how to play sports.
We hope you enjoyed this video and have a better understanding of how the science of ABA is used in sports and how we are incorporating that science into our Special Olympics program at BDA.
Thank you for listening.
Like and subscribe to help us disseminate the science.